Today we are going to make fairy cakes. So first of all, I'm going to start off by showing you my ingredients. I've got 50 grams of butter, 1 egg, and I've got caster sugar and self-raising flour. The first thing that I'm going to do, into a large clean bowl, I'm going to add in 50 grams of sugar. Now remember when you're doing this to make sure that you put the bowl on and then set it to 0 before you start. And this recipe is really straightforward because it is 50 of everything and an egg. So 50 flour, 50 sugar, 50 grams of butter to 1 egg, and that is going to give you 6 fairy cakes. So that's my sugar done. Onto a plate, again make sure it goes to 0. I'm going to just roll out my flour so I've got all my ingredients ready. So this gives you 6 fairy cakes. If I was wanting to make 12, I would just double my recipe. So I would have 100 of everything and 2 eggs. That's me. And I can put that to the side for now. That's me finished with my scales. Just going to put them away. And back to my bowl. And my sugar, I'm going to add in all of the butter. I'm using a wooden spoon. I'm going to cream the butter and sugar together. So to do that, I'm using the back of a wooden spoon, pressing against the side of the bowl. So I'm not just stirring this here, I'm pressing and dragging the sugar and the butter together along the side of the bowl to incorporate it all together. So you're going to need to put your muscles into this. And what we're looking for is it to be all creamed together into one paste. So there should be no, so some people stop here. Do you see how there's still sugar at the bottom? We want it to be all one paste. So you keep going to incorporate the sugar and the butter all together. And what this makes sure is that there's no gritty bits of sugar in any of our cakes. As it's all incorporated in. You see the difference? Just going to beat that a little bit more. The more you beat these fairy cakes in your bowl, the more air you're incorporating in. And that's what we want, because the more air added in during mixing, beating, the more light and fluffy our final cakes will be. So I'm happy with that. I'm going to set that aside. And the next thing I'm going to do is crack my egg into a cup. Now, the reason why we crack an egg into a cup is because there is no way of telling if this egg is off. So, to do that, big strong crack into a cup, eggshell in the bin to get disposed of. And no eggshell, egg is totally fine. I'm happy with that, so I can add that in with all my other ingredients. Notice how I'm moving everything over to the sink as soon as I'm finished using it. And now I can add in my flour. So I'm going to use a sieve to add it all in. And the reason for using a sieve is, again, it incorporates more air into our batter, our cake batter. Not only will sieving it add air, this isn't a very good plate because it gets stuck. another wee bit. Not only is it good to add in air, but we're also using self-raising flour to do this, which helps to, again, help our cakes to rise. Now when I'm doing this, I'm very gently tapping it off the side of my hand. No big movements, otherwise it'll end up all over my kitchen. Until I'm happy. And again, all this stuff that I no longer need goes straight over, so I'm working with a nice, clean, tidy surface. Now this requires me to beat my mixture. So again, making sure I'm using big movements around my bowl, getting everything off the sides, incorporating my mixture into one cake batter. Again, the more you beat this, the more air you're incorporating in to help us get nice, light and fluffy cakes. So, whilst I'm eating this, can you see the difference? It's coming together, but I'm going to continue to beat it. Now in here, it could be very tempting to want to taste this, but there is actually an egg in here, which means that you could be at risk of salmonella food poisoning if you were to eat too much of this. Salmonella is a harmful bacteria that can make us sick. So the more you beat your cake mix, the colour actually starts to go a little paler. It's quite hard to actually see in this lighting. Some other ingredients we've used is our self-raising flour and caster sugar. Now both of these have got what we call a best before date on them, which means that they are stored in a cupboard because they don't have a high risk of giving us food poisoning. Now what a best before date means What a best before date tells us is that it can be eaten after that date and it won't cause us any harm because the bacteria aren't multiplying rapidly in there. It might be better taste-wise before, but it wouldn't cause us any harm. Unlike if foods with a use-by date like dairy produce or meat, if we consume them after their use-by date, that tells us we should use it by that date because the harmful bacteria are multiplying rapidly in there after that date, and if we consume it then we could be at risk of food poisoning. So what we have here is our mixture all incorporated in, and what we've got, or what you should be looking for, is a nice dropping consistency, which is exactly what I've got here when I mix it on the spoon. And it drops off, dropping consistency, that's exactly what I'm looking for. So now I'm quite happy that these can go into my fairy cake cases. Now to do that, it might be helpful if you use a metal spoon and your pinky to scrape off so just using my pinky. I'm going to split the mixture between my 6 fairy cake cases, making sure that I do this, making sure that I distribute the mixture evenly, because if I don't, and I have some big ones and small ones, some will burn and others will still be raw in the centre. So it's important that you try and distribute it as evenly as possible. And don't worry about making them flat or making them all level, as soon as these go in the oven, the heat will flatten them out. So it would be be helpful if you have your bowl scraper to make sure you get all of the mixture into your cases. And there we have it. You can see that, look pretty even. And I'm just going to wash my hands. And these can get added in using my oven gloves safely into the oven. Now my oven has been preheated at 180 degrees and these should go in for about 12 minutes. Now is the time to make sure I get all my dishes done and tidy up. So I'm just going to take our cakes out of the oven and here they are, nice and golden brown. Now what we're looking for is our cakes to rise and to change from being a liquid batter into a solid cake. These should also be springy to the touch, so if I just sit this down and show you up close. I've actually got my plate here. Our cakes should be springy to the touch, so if we press that in, it should spring back, and you can also put in a cocktail stick, and if it comes out clean with no batter on it, we know that they are ready and fully cooked all the way through. I would just leave these to cool, and then I'll probably just dust some icing sugar with my sieve over the top, but that is them.